Hi, don't mind me, I'm just exploring this 1994 RPG dungeon. I can't see anything in this place, it's kind of spooky. I really hope I don't run into anything scary. Oh, what's that over there? You should play the Elder Scrolls Arena. Ah! Let's just say my adventuring days are over for the next 2 months.
The Elder Scrolls, Bethesda's premier RPG series. Skyrim is a huge game. Doesn't mean it's great, but still, it's a huge game. There are 5 main entries, and I've dabbled in all of them, except for one.
The Elder Scrolls Arena. I don't have a physical copy, I wanted to invest in something worthwhile instead.
Prior to the release of Arena, Bethesda primarily made whatever type of game I pull out of this hat. Mainly sports games it is. This changed, of course, once they started to develop the Elder Scrolls Chapter 1 Arena. Arena was super ambitious for the time, so much that designer Ted Peterson recalls people from Surtech laughing at them, thinking that they couldn't do it. I wonder where those guys are today. Arena was very much inspired by tabletop adventure games such as Dungeons & Dragons. However, despite being inspired by a tabletop RPG, it wasn't originally intended to be an RPG at all. The original plan was for it to be a game where you and a team would go to various arenas within cities and fight other teams, with the ultimate goal of becoming the grand champion, hence the name Arena. However, as development progressed, they decided to flesh out cities, add dungeons, and make side quests play a bigger role, and eventually drop the arena aspect completely.
Well, almost completely.
They kept the arena name with the excuse that the world in the game is so violent it's like an arena.
Yeah, so is my immune system, but you don't hear me calling that an arena.
The game was originally set to release on Christmas Day 1993, but didn't release until 3 months later in March of 1994.
And thus the game released to critical acclaim and commercial success, truly kickstarting the Elder Scrolls series into what it is today. Did I miss April Fool's Day?
The game flopped initially. Distributors didn't like it due to the misleading box art, which is very much based on the game's original concepts, but overall, the game only pushed around 3,000 units. However, as the next few years passed, the game finally started to gain some traction as RPG fans played the game for themselves and helped spread the word. Arena supplied players with a huge world to explore with a ton of dungeons to conquer. Eventually, Arena hit the Success Express and continued down that route to where it is today. And as the years went on, each mainline Elder Scrolls game innovated and became something unique. Daggerfall was batshit crazy, Morrowind was Polygonal Paradise, Oblivion was Silly Sanctuary, and Skyrim, well, it was sure a game.
In case you can't tell, I think Skyrim is, Skyrim. Which is why I have 2 copies.
However, even with how Skyrim-y Skyrim is, I still enjoy it along with the prior 3 Elder Scrolls entries. I've spent a ton of time in the latter 3, and I'm dying to play through Daggerfall completely because of how silly it is. But of the 5 mainline Elder Scrolls games, there's been one that I still have yet to experience, but haven't had a ton of motivation to do so.
I've dabbled in Arena before, but it would usually end with me turning it off quickly because the game just never really grabbed me. But since I want to experience the whole Elder Scrolls series, I guess this is a good excuse to finally sit down and play through Arena. How do I sit down again?
This is my PC setup down here. Impressed? A shitty laptop, an ancient mouse, a garbage keyboard, and a 4x3 monitor. If this doesn't scream playing Arena, I don't know what does. Don't worry, I can run anything I throw at this bad boy, as long as it's more than 15 years old. Well, thankfully, this game is 26 years away from being able to get a senior discount at Denny's, so we should be fine. Thankfully, Bethesda has made playing Arena easy. You can download it off their website or get it on Steam for free. Bethesda isn't the greatest company out there, but I really commend them for this. If you just want to try out Arena to see where the Elder Scrolls series began, it won't cost you a thing. But trying the base release, Yeah, I could go for something a tad better. So here enters Open Arena, a free open source mod that makes Arena a better experience. A 16:9 resolution,
Because that really matters on a 4:3 monitor.
but also better controls and just overall being smoother. However, the draw of this mod is that it isn't done. All you can do is walk around. You can't attack enemies, they won't even attack you. You can't talk to NPCs either, so you just can't do quests in general. This is as medieval walking simulator as medieval walking simulator gets. So let's play the standard version of the game. We start with the book opening up, wow. And this title screen refers to the game as Chapter 1, very interesting. And once we start a new game, we get the plot. The game takes place on the continent of Tamriel, ruled by Emperor Auriel Septon VII. An Imperial battle mage called Jaeger Tharn is summoned due to rumors of a betrayal incoming, and surprise surprise, Tharn is the traitor. He sends Septim to another dimension and disguises himself as the Emperor. Then this mage, Rhea, figures out what's up, and so Tharn kills her before she can tell others. He also sends you to the Imperial dungeons because, I don't know, you looked at him funny?
Probable cause.
This is the tradition in the Elder Scrolls series. You always start as a prisoner. This is done so you can imagine your own story prior to the beginning of the game. It's canon. My character once punched a deer and thus he is imprisoned because Yagarthon loved his deer. But who's my character? Well, you first get to choose your class. Man, I don't care. Just give me a sword, warrior. And time for a name. As I play through the Elder Scrolls series, I want my characters to all be part of the same bloodline. So meet Harry, the first of the Ballslicker bloodline. You get to choose where they hail from, but this just determines your race. Nords from Skyrim, Argonians from Black Marsh, but Harry is from Morrowind's Land of the Dark Elves. You then distribute your stats, which are randomly rolled, much like D&D, and from there you have a bunch of skill points you can distribute. And after that, you can change your appearance between a bunch of preset ones. Fun. And now it's time to save the world. In your sleep, Rhea speaks to you and tells you how to escape. You can find a key in your cell and then leave the dungeon. And we finally get our hands on Harry, and oh my god. The controls in this game are ass with a capital S. By default, you can't move with the WASD keys. You can move with your mouse pointer, move to the top of the screen and click to move forward, bottom to move backwards, left and right to turn, corners to go diagonally. What the hell is their issue? Thankfully, we can map these actions to the WASD keys, but it's still not perfect. Moving is fine, but looking is a pain. You look with the A and D keys, which is just ugh. And then there's the UI. My god. A solid fourth of the screen is taken up by this thing, and it's like, yowzers, this thing is huge. However, a lot of these can be mapped to keys, which makes this even more annoying. I can press M to open the map. I don't need this here. To pick up items and loot lootable things, it's as simple as can be. Walk up to them, light it up in the crosshair, and click. It works, it's fine, it's not ideal, but what are you gonna do? Now, combat.
Please no.
Hey look, a goblin. You know what that means.
Unnecessary violence.
Well, in most later entries in the series, it's as simple as clicking. But here, you hold down the mouse button and swing your mouse left to right. It's fine, just a bit annoying. When talking about this, a lot of people will show the following. It's not really like that. It's a more subtle motion. It's not too bad, but it's just kind of, I don't know, super fucking stupid. And in general, the combat is just so unsatisfying. Every swing, it's like D&D where the damage is RNG based. Because of this, you can be swinging for quite some time to no avail. Great. Well, that's the core gameplay, so on to the game. So you find the key Rhea told you about in the cell and escape, and she sends you to a random city. And from there, you are free to do whatever. But what's the main quest line like? Well, the next time you sleep, Rhea visits you again and tells you what's up. Tharn's life force is held within the Staff of Chaos, which has been split up into several pieces, one hidden in each area. And thus, the goal of the game is to travel to each country, which is something very unique about Arena. Here, you get to explore the whole continent of Tamriel with a huge fucking asterisk. Yes, you get to travel to Skyrim and Black Marsh and Cyrodiil, but it's not crazy exciting. The main points you can travel to are cities. You can leave the cities and run around the world, but here's the deal. The world is infinite. It's procedurally generated, much like something like Minecraft. Because of this, each piece of the wild outside of a city is its own plane of existence. You can't walk from one town to the next, making this world feel super disjointed. It doesn't really matter, it takes too long to walk from one town to the next, but still. The world doesn't really feel like a world because it's not. It was a clever way to make the game's world huge, but at the same time, this is a huge world, but my god, there is literally nothing to do here. The cities are also procedurally generated, and oh my God, I hate exploring these. So many buildings are just pointless. Every time you arrive at a new city, it's night and it's impossible to find an inn. You have to literally walk around in the dark, just hoping you randomly stumble across it or an NPC. But nearly every other building is useless and locked at night. Some of the layouts are just horrible and can be such a damn pain to navigate. And if you can be lucky enough to find an NPC, you can ask them where an inn is, but they just give you a cardinal direction. Head south. Great. So all you can do is head in that direction and hope you either find it or someone else who can continue pointing you in the right direction. If you find an NPC close enough to what you're looking for, they'll mark it on your map for you, but why don't they just do that in the first place? Speaking of marking things on your map, you can mark things on your map. Click anywhere and you can type stuff. It's a neat feature, allowing you to keep track of where some things are. But back to the main quest, I just fell way off. So in each country, you go to a certain town and talk to the ruler who will give you a quest. Complete said quest and they'll reveal the location of the dungeon containing that country's staff piece. The first one is in Hammerfell. They need you to go get some papers from a stronghold that has been overcome with monsters.
Great.
When you get a quest that takes place in a dungeon, it's automatically added to your map and you can go there. So the first dungeon, the dungeons in this game are pretty sizable. Here's the map of the whole dungeon, and here's the path to the goal. Why is the required thing at the front of the dungeon? Well, let's head there.
Okay, I think I get it. One more try.
Arena is an RPG, a game where you're supposed to explore and fight weak enemies to slowly become stronger. I assume what you're supposed to do is to go through most of the dungeons, leveling up and becoming more powerful. Then you can fight these later enemies. I don't care.
I just don't care for the arena gameplay loop. And it's fine, but I just don't find it fun. Let's see if there's any invincibility cheats or mods that we can use. Huh. Well, this is where the adventures of Harry Balls Liquor ends.
Yeah, I'm not doing all this. Listen, I play Elder Scrolls to explore a vast world and do fun quests for wacky characters. I'm not playing these for a sense of accomplishment, so make me invincible. This game says no. No invincibility cheat, not even a mod. There may be a way, but I just don't care. So let's explore a bit. The world is kind of cool. I do like that when traveling to all the countries, you can travel to cities that would appear in later games. Especially Skyrim, pretty much all of its major cities are here. Same with the Imperial City and Cyrodiil. It's cool seeing how long these cities have been around. Another cool thing is the background of each country is different. Morrowind, you can see Red Mountain. Skyrim, you can see mountains in general. It's really neat.
And that's Arena. Arena is a solid game for the time. For 1994, it gives you a huge world to explore. I can see someone getting a ton of playtime out of this game, and I would, but I'm just not into the gameplay loop and just prefer the later entries. Listen, I was not playing this game the correct way. Before you step foot into the first dungeon, you should have already been grinding and leveling up and doing multiple side quests and stuff like that. I just skipped all of that and went straight for the dungeons, and so because of that, I can't really criticize the game on its difficulty because I was just playing it wrong. Because again, it's solid for the time. This is a great game for the kid in the 90s who has all the time in the world and wants to explore a medieval fantasy world, but for someone with limited time, I can't play this too much. However, even with how fun of a game it is, it still doesn't hold up too well because of Daggerfall. To me, what makes Daggerfall enjoyable and really playable, even with Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim, is that it has such a distinct visual art style, yet it's an ever so slightly more modern version of Arena's art style. Thusly, the only thing I find appealing about Arena, the graphics, is invalidated by Daggerfall. After putting a couple hours into Arena, I really see why I never played much Arena before, because it's just not the kind of game that I enjoy. But maybe I should do some of the side quests before I really call it bad.
As for side quests, they sure exist, kind of. Sometimes before you talk to a bartender, you're approached with a side quest. Like here, for 57 gold, I need to deliver a gold inglet to Conclave of Rihanna. But there's a time limit, I need to deliver it by the certain date. No worries, let me find where to find the Conclave. Okay, I just found it in Snowhawk. So let's just travel there, and by the time I get there, the offer has expired.
That's it! Harry is angry. It's time to go to the local inn and cause anarchy because murder is on the menu. What? How do I cause chaos? Steal a room. Are you trying to steal a room? Yeah? You're unsuccessful. Shit, where'd he go? Oh shit, who's that? And that's the end of Harry Balls Liquor the First. Needless to say, Tamriel was